Just before we went for that break, we were talking about how to leverage technology in solving societal problems. And the first thing we talked about was leveraging technology in the health sector. Of course, you know that periodically, from time to time, we have what is called health emergencies. All right, it could be epidemic strike. It could be a form of attack, that could make a good number of people to go through pain or a period of agony, right? And then it is, science and technology that will always say or tell what the solution to such humongous amount of problem or magnitude of problem rather is. Okay, so with regards to health, okay, it's usually science and technology that will be leveraged in terms of manufacturing drugs that's used during such grave magnitude of disaster health emergencies. And also, when you look at all the sectors like security, you find out that it's also science and technology that could be leveraged in terms of knowing how to build up military armaments and hardware with which crime and criminality is combated. All right, so it's very, very important that we highlight the fact that science and technology cannot be done away with in our time. And then finally, in times of cyclone emergency, there's also what we call the natural disasters that happen sometimes. Could be earthquake, could be famine, it could be anything. It's also through science and technology that the solution can be gotten. All right. So moving on, we also have seen another exploit or another target has been set by the World Health Organization or the United Nations entirely. All right, what is called the use of AI to generate protein. All right, which is used in manufacturing and creating other value, high value products. You find out that this is also what falls under the purview of those who are science practitioners. All right. Okay. So, what are we saying today? Is that if the United Nations have come up or have itemized all these objectives that is going to be met during this 1 decade period that's just commenced last year, all right, which is going to end by year 2033. All right, what is Nigeria doing to make sure that we key in into this big plan and objective of the United Nations? That's what the big question is today. Okay. And to finally cap it up in this segment, there's also what is known as exoplanetary bodies. All right. Remember that we said when we started the program that the United Nations have said that by year 2033 that there will be a permanent human presence on the moon. All right. So, how prepared is Nigeria in this direction? Would it be a bad idea if a member of your family is selected to be one of those that Nigeria will be sending to the moon to be part of those who are going to be parts or citizens or indigents of this new habitat? It wouldn't be a bad idea if you ask me. All right, so let's just oppose this with the policies that Nigeria pursues with regards to science and technology. I'll be back in a short. This is Isthmus Daily Rendezvous. I am MC Lekeleke. All right. It is gratifying to note that the effort of the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, has not been infinitesimal in terms of seeing the impact of uh, the growth of the technological sector of our national life. But today we want to see, or we want to put side by side, what is the reality of science and technological strides in Nigeria with what is obtainable in other countries of the world. All right. Okay. Now they've said that the ministry have said that their major thrust will be to create a knowledge-based economy. All right, through research and development. So we know that how this thing happens is that institutions of higher learning will be urged or mandated to be carrying out researches that will, solve problems associated with several sectors of our economy. For instance, uh, uh, institutions of higher learning, for instance, will be those in the medical line will be asked, to study the history of major epidemics. For instance, this is an instance I'm giving, epidemics that happened or occurred in this country, all right, to see how such incidences could be forestalled or prevented from occurring, in the nearest future, foreseeable future. Have you seen it? So it's preventable, so that when such incident arises, it wouldn't cost the country sort the normal humongous amount of money that is quoted in the budget used in tackling such emergencies. Have you seen it? So a knowledge-driven economy that will be proactive, solving problem proactively. Have you seen it? Okay, that's number one. All right. Then there is also this issue of ending, this foreign dependency in virtually everything that is happening in this country. If it's importation, we depend, in the developed countries for what we eat, what we wear, the medicine we take when we are sick, virtually everything, apart from the few industrialists that are in our country, the few companies that are in our country. You find that virtually everything that we make use of, both consumption or in doing everything that we do, comes from abroad. So the ministry is saying, how can we end this over dependency on foreign countries? Of course, is to enforce uh, industrialization on a very large scale, and that can only happen if we find out the areas rather that we have a competitive advantage, as the economists will say. All right. So the question to be answered by uh, this major stakeholders is: has Nigeria done well in integrating technology in every sector of our national life? All right. Yes, the ministry has boasted, that, hey, we are not lagging behind as long as this lofty vision of the United Nations is concerned. All right. But what we want to see, ask us, if we check the reality on ground, okay, in our higher institutions, most especially the ones owned by the state government, not the ones owned by the federal, run by the federal government. All right. We have federal universities, we have state-owned universities. All right. Yes. So if you go to these state-owned universities, you'll find out the realities on ground in terms of the facilities used in learning. All right. You can compare them with what we have in federal universities. Okay. And you find out that when students graduate every year, you wouldn't say that this person graduated from a federal university and the other person graduated from a state university. Of course, they will be given the same opportunity. And if you're not prepared for the opportunity, whether or not you studied or you graduated from a federal or state university doesn't count, all right? So we're talking about preparing students or graduates to be able to tackle challenges and solve societal problems. So what we're saying is, when the federal government, is equipping the institutions that, fall under their purview for management, all right, they should also, instruct the state government to make sure that these institutions that they manage are adequately equipped to train students and put them in a proper, frame of mind, and also equipped to solve the problem besetting the society. All right. So, in all of these things, um, individuals or citizens are not totally you know exempted from certain responsibilities that they must fulfill. All right. Yes, of course, we blame government for this and that and that and this. Okay, so, but are we as individuals, going to fold our arms and say because government have not done this or that, we're not going to help ourselves, you know, in trying to realize the personal objectives that we have for our individual lives. I'll be back shortly after this timer.